قاتلوا في سبيل الله أموات بل أحياء ولكن لا تشعرون ولنبلونكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوات
اللهم صل على محمد.
I would like to now invite Brother Fadlan for today's Sawz and Salam for his health and safety. Please recite aloud Salam.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وجل. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وجل.
صدا بھائی حسین آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین تیرا چہرہ تیری آنکھیں بھول کب پائی حسین آج بھی ریت پر چلتے نہ کیسے گرایا خود کو جلتی ریت پر گھٹنیوں کے بل میں تیری لاش تک آئی حسین کون تھا جو مرنے والوں میں نہیں تھا خوبرو کون تھا جو مرنے والوں میں نہیں تھا خوبرو بھولنے بیٹھی تو کس کی نہ یاد آئی حسین بہہ رہے تھے آنکھ سے آنسو تیری رخصت کے بعد
بہہ رہے تھے آنکھ سے آنسو تیری رخصت کے بعد، پھر کوئی آنسو نہ ٹپکا، آنکھ پتھرائی حسین، بس میں گھبرائی تھی خنجر تجھ پہ چلتا دیکھ کر، بس میں گھبرائی تھی خنجر تجھ پہ چلتا دیکھ کر، پھر کسی مشکل میں گر کر میں نہ گھبرائی حسین، ہاتھ میں کوزے لیے سب آسماں تکتے رہے، ہاتھ میں کوزے لیے سب آسماں تکتے رہے، ابر نے ایک بوند پانی کی نہ برسائی حسین، دور افتادہ سفر سے لوٹ کر میں نے نبی، دور افتادہ سفر سے لوٹ کر میں نے نبی، ٹھنڈا پانی جب پیا بس تیری یاد آئی حسین، آج بھی زینب کی آتی ہے صدا بھائی حسین، سرو
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
ماشاءاللہ، جزاک اللہ. دشت میں رہ گئی تنہا، دشت میں رہ گئی تنہا تو وطن یاد آیا، پانی پہ جب پڑی نظر تو ہر تشنہ دہن یاد آیا، لے کے ہر چیز مدینہ سے چلی تھی زینب، بھائی کی لاش پہ پہنچی تو کفن یاد آیا. بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
مومنین، مجلس شب غریبہ سے خطاب کے لیے میں درخواست کروں گا جناب آغا محسن جعفری صاحب سے کہ وہ تشریف لے آئیں اور آج کی مجلس سے خطاب فرمائیں. بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات.
اللهم صل على محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه.
Let us begin with the Fatiha for all of the Shuhada, for all of the rightful scholars that have passed away, for all of the marhumeen, of everyone in this gathering, and for all those who do not have anyone to recite the Fatiha for them. Bismillah.
الرحمن الرحيم الرحمن الرحيم إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم.
For the hastening of the reappearance of our beloved Imam, and so that we may be among his true lovers, his true companions, his true followers, and as an invitation to the beloved Imam and the Shuhada to this humble gathering of ours, please recite a loud salawat. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا شفيع ذنوبنا أبو القاسم المصطفى محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى أهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المكرمين المنتجبين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. قال سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن تمسسكم حسنة تسؤهم وإن تصبكم سيئة يفرحوا بها وإن تصبروا وتتقوا لا يضركم كيدهم شيئا إن الله بما يعملون محيط. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Please recite another salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
First and foremostly, I thank Allah for giving me this opportunity over these nights to be able to share this discussion with you. I also want to take the opportunity to thank the organizers, our dear Mushtaq Bhai, our dear Qaisar Bhai, our dear Nader Ali for his recitation over these nights. How our gatherings were beautified by their voices, by the efforts of our dear Mohsen Bhai for hosting, and also the Nohas, and for all others who contributed in any way to beautify this gathering of ours. I will take the opportunity today, inshallah, to wrap up the discussion that we have been having, and in reality, there was a lot more to be said. In reality, we barely got through half of our discussion, to be honest. But inshallah, you forgive me for any mistakes, any shortcomings from my side, and inshallah we are able to act upon whatever is said and heard, and inshallah we continue this relationship beyond tonight. Everything that we have discussed came down to the question of what is sabr. And we mentioned that we need to come out of the understanding of sabr being just tolerating difficulties and hardships, or just accepting difficulties and hardships. We need to understand that sabr is the ability to remain steadfast upon your objectives regardless of what is thrown at you. Why is today an important day to remember this? Of course, we have the day of Ashura, we have Sham Ghariba, but also this is our last gathering together. The point of these 10 nights is so we continue the rest of the year. No matter what this world throws at us, whether it's going back to our 9-to-5 jobs or whatever it may be, we have to remain steadfast in holding the flag that Hazrat Abbas held throughout the battle, no matter what was thrown at him. I was reading this narration this morning in which they said that in the courtyard of Yazid, they brought in front of him the different things that they had gathered from Karbala. One of those things that they had gathered from Karbala was the flag that Hazrat Abbas was holding, and they put it down in front. And Yazid looked at it and he could see that there were so many arrows that had fired on this flag, that on the pole where Hazrat Abbas was holding the flag, there was no space left for any other arrow. There were so many holes throughout this pole. Apart from one area, Yazid was so startled by this that the narration says he stood up and sat down 3 times. And he said, do you know what this means? This means until the last moment, Abbas did not let go of the flag. That is what sabr means. That is what we need to take forward. That is what we need to take forward. In Surah A'raf, Sayyid al-Qaid, he tries to highlight how sabr is not acceptance, rather it's remaining steadfast. In Surah A'raf, verse number 127 and 128. What does it say? The elite of Pharaoh's people said, will you leave Musa and his people to cause corruption in the land and to abandon you and your gods? Pharaoh replied, we will kill their sons and spare their women, and indeed we are dominant over them. This was the response of Pharaoh. We will kill their sons and spare their women. Unfortunately for the lovers of the Ahlul Bayt, those who know what happened after Ashura, we know what sparing of the women means. And indeed we are dominant over them. When Musa heard this, what did he say to his people? He said to his people, the next verse, that he will take it into captivity and we will be dominant over them. You think Musa just turned around and said to his people, turn to Allah for help and just accept whatever is going to happen to you? If we were to take sabr with the understanding that some of us may have, what does that mean? Musa just turned around to his people and said, turn towards Allah, but you don't have to do anything. Just tolerate, just accept. Is that possible for a prophet of God in the face of something that is about to happen to the women and children? He says, don't do anything, or just tolerate. Furthermore, what is Musa telling them? If you do this, what's going to happen? If you turn to Allah and you have sabr, what's going to happen? The earth indeed belongs to Allah, and He gives its inheritance to whomever He wishes of His servants, and the outcome will be in favor of the muttaqin. He's letting the people know, if you do this, you will be victorious. There's a battle coming. If you do these 2 things, turn towards Allah and have sabr, you will be victorious. Does that sound like Musa is saying, I'm going to give you something which will not lead to victory? Or does it sound like he's giving them something which will help them be victorious on the battlefield? What will help them be victorious on the battlefield? No matter what Pharaoh throws at you, turn towards Allah and have sabr, meaning remain steadfast on your objective. Don't let anything turn you away from Allah. If you do this, then look at what Allah promises you. He promises you the inheritance of this land. He promises you victory. There's a tradition in which our dear beloved Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam,
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل.
he says sabr is of three types. So upon obedience, the second sabr anil ma'siyah, so remaining steadfast in the face of sins, and sabr indal musibah, remaining steadfast in the face of tribulations. We don't have too much time, so I'm going to just go through these quickly and get to the point that we're trying to reach. Remaining steadfast upon obedience, what does that mean? Regardless of whether you feel like it or not, regardless of whether you're tired or not, regardless of all of the pressures pushing you away, you do not neglect what you are ordered to do by Allah. If you're only praying when it feels good, that is not remaining steadfast upon obedience. This question is asked a lot. How can I keep a spiritual high so I always feel like praying? And the response is, Allah uses salah as a tool for you to grow. If you only prayed, if Allah gave you a state in which you always felt like praying, would you grow? Sometimes not having a spiritual high is a blessing from Allah, because He wants to see, will you still pray? Because if you pray even when you don't feel like it, you will grow even more. But you have to remain steadfast in your obedience. I will only be religious. I will only change my language. I will only look after my etiquette during the first 10 days of Muharram. And then after that, I'm not going to remain steadfast in the obedience of Allah. I will go back to my normal ways. God forbid that's the case. The second was steadfastness in the face of sins. Very straightforward. When you are tempted, you do not fall for committing that sin. You remain steadfast in the face of those temptations. That has to remain. On the morning of Ashura, the day of Ashura, what do? We stop ourselves having something which is halal for us. In the religion of love and in the language of love, it's haram for us to have water on the day of Ashura. But fiqhi wise, it's halal for us. Or at the very least, you can say that it's something which is halal for you during the rest of the year. But we don't have it. This should train us that if we can stop ourselves having something which technically we're allowed, then the rest of the year we should have more determination to not take those things which we know we're not allowed. The holy month of Ramadan is a whole month where we get to practice this. From morning to night, do not have the things which are normally allowed for you. Why? You're building up the will and determination for you to stay away from those things which are haram for the rest of the year. Of course, during that month as well. The third is remaining steadfast in the face of hardships. Remaining steadfast in the face of trials and tests and tribulations. There are two types of trials that we face. One of them, it's not your choice. You did not get to choose whether you fall sick, for example. You did not get to choose whether there's an earthquake or a storm that badly affects your area. You don't get to choose that. Again, Allah wants to see, when this happens, do you remain upon your objective or not? SubhanAllah, the amount of brothers I've seen go out of their way when they're not feeling well to make sure they stay on top of their work. But that same enthusiasm, that same remaining steadfast for the objectives of Allah, like, oh, I wasn't well this week, so inshallah I'll pick up on it next week. You didn't say that for your work, unless of course it's so serious that you literally can't do anything. But you see these sacrifices happening. You see yourself remaining steadfast for everything but what we have learned over these 10 nights. God forbid that's the case. But the idea is, when these afflictions befall you, do you remain upon your objective or not? The second type of trials and tribulations are the ones which you choose to take on. There's a choice. You could have stayed comfortable. You could have stayed away from this particular path, but you choose to have it. Now, once you've chosen it, you can't be like, well, I chose this, so therefore it's okay if I'm not that determined upon it. No. If you choose it, now you will be judged in accordance with it. If you decide to go on the journey of attaining a PhD in one of the subjects, whether you like it or not, from then on, you will be judged in accordance with that degree. Once you choose it, you remain steadfast upon it. Look at the journey of all who decided to become the lovers of the Ahlul Bayt. If there's a day where you can say this, it's today. Do not tell your children, please, do not tell your children, follow the school of the Ahlul Bayt, because if you do, you will have a life free of trials and tribulation. That is not the case. It flies against so many narrations we have about this. A person comes to our dear beloved Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
And he says to him, Yabna Rasulullah, I love you. I'm sure you all have heard this. What do you expect the response to be? You expect the response to be, thank you, I love you too, something along those lines. What does the Imam say? He says, are you sure? Are you sure? And the person says, yes, I'm sure, I love you. What does the Imam say? Then get ready to face difficulties. Get ready to face difficulties. Build a capacity within your children to be able to choose this path with the knowledge it comes with difficulties. That's what we want to happen. That's what we want to happen. And then remain steadfast upon this. SubhanAllah, look at the character of Nathan. Not only are you choosing this path, you're being told exactly what is going to happen to you. And you spend your life watering the tree upon which you will be tortured. This is the school that we belong to. When Lady Zainab got permission from her husband to leave with her brother, did she not know the journey that is in front of them? It's a choice. And throughout that journey, you see her remaining absolutely steadfast. Absolutely steadfast. From her, we understand what sabr is. That is what we want to take away from today. That is especially what we want to take away from Sham Ghariba. How to remain steadfast in the face of the worst atrocities happening in front of you. Not how do we go to sleep after 10 days and we'll remember Zainab and we'll remember Abbas and we'll remember Hussein next year. How do you think that makes them feel? When the same person who was here last year has come back, how do you think they feel? Were you not supposed to remain steadfast upon what we have learned in these 10 nights, so that when you come next year, I can see someone who's been working upon that path for a whole year? Otherwise, why are you crying for me? Do you not realize it's people who did not work on themselves that led to this happening to me? With what face can we sit down on this verse next year if we are not remaining steadfast upon this path? One of the main reasons it's important to mention this, because some may say, okay, after Muharram, the fire begins to die out. One of the main reasons this happens is because of comfort. Because of comfort. We are in the pursuit of comfort. We are expecting to be comfortable. The biggest problem with this, you will be in the pursuit of something which you can never attain. Never attain. By Allah, and I say this to our children before anyone else, the day you realize that comfort does not exist in this world is the day you will be successful. There's a narration from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam,
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wajil.
in which he says, and again I'm addressing the youth over here, understand this now, because your elders have understood it. I just want to make this clear. Your elders have understood it. You don't realize how much your mothers and fathers have sacrificed for you. You don't realize it. Right? They have sacrificed an incredible amount. You don't understand how proud they are to see you sitting on this first today. They have sacrificed. They have understood that they need to get uncomfortable so you can be here. When will you realize this? The Imam says, do not wish for the impossible. Imagine someone says to you, do not ask for the impossible. It's impossible. It says, do not wish for the impossible. And they said, whoever wishes for something that is impossible, the Imam says, you do. Do you not wish for comfort in this world? They replied, yes. So he said, comfort is impossible for the believer to secure in this world. Why? Allah will not bear. If I'm not mistaken, our fifth Imam has a narration in which he says that a believer will either be tested by their spouses, by their children, by the people they work with, and if none of this happens, then they will be walking down the street one day and some random person will come and give them trouble because they are loved by Allah. They are loved by Allah. If you come out of these 10 days looking for comfort, stop yourself. Stop yourself. How many times during these 10 days, especially today, especially yesterday, have you stopped yourself from drinking water? You're thirsty. Just stop yourself. It's like, okay, what if I just don't have it this one time? Remembering the thirst of Sayyid al-Shuhada. We need to maintain this if we want to grow. We need to, no one's forcing us to stop drinking water. No one is forcing us to stop having our comforts. We need to make the decision that, do you know what? I'm going to have this much less food. This thing that I like, I'm going to have this much less of it. I'm going to have this much less water. Do you know what we learn from Sayyid al-Shuhada? I'm going to hug my children for this much less time because I have to be willing to sacrifice everything. Everything. But if we fall back into a life of comfort, what follows? We stop remaining steadfast. Because we will always be after the comfortable option. We'll always be after the comfortable option. How far away is that from the journey of the caravan of Sayyid al-Shuhada? Not remaining steadfast, being comfortable. I mean, these are things that cannot be in the vocabulary of the people who sit on this farsh. It's not possible, especially on Sham al-Ghariba. First, you'll be in the pursuit of something that's not even possible. Secondly, if you try to be comfortable, fine, do it. But we are just relaxing on the side because we did not want to face a bit of hardship. It will be successful. This is a call for us. Sayyid al-Shuhada, especially on the day of Ashura, for us. He loved us so much. Centuries ago, he did so much for us. After the 10 days, that cannot be possible. We have to remain steadfast upon what we learn in these nights. Please recite salawat. We've spoken about the disdain that the Amir had for the people who did not listen to him. What is this illness that you have? What is your cure? The other men. Will there be carelessness without taqwa? And will there be greed in things? Or is something going to change? It cannot happen. This cannot happen. Move from yours. If that is not sabr, then what is? To them